Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the residents at St. Jerome's University. So this is either live at St. Jerome's University or even it's live at St. Jerome's University, since we have a special guest with us, one of our current first-year residents who you'll be hearing from momentarily as well. So technically we are live at St. Jerome's University, which is super cool to be able to do at this point in the year. So I am going to get us started so that we can make the most of our time together that we have. We have a short presentation on the St. Jerome's University residents for you folks tonight, and then we are going to move it into a discussion and Q&A so that we can hear from you and make sure that you get all of your questions answered with us as we go. I do want to start off by acknowledging the land and the traditional territory that St. Jerome's is located on. And I wanted to do this by sharing with you this old photo from 1968 that was taken from above Westmount Road North in Waterloo by Kitchener photographer Fred Curillo. Because when we talk about the land, the traditional territories, the Indigenous folks who inhabited this land before St. Jerome's was here, we talk about how there was a treaty in 1784 called the Haldimand Tract, where Sir Frederick Haldimand gave 10 kilometers on either side of the Grand River to the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Attawandaron peoples. And you'll see that blue pond there and the little bit of the river that's going through. And this is Laurel Creek, which is a tributary of the Grand River. So when we talk about the 10 kilometers on either side, it's very much where St. Jerome's is located. So the circle that'll pop up in just a second shows you where St. Jerome's is on this map. We are a little bit bigger now than that building there, but in 1968, this was where St. Jerome's was. And again, that blue creek, the next circle that pops up, or the arrow that pops up, is going to show you where the Laurel Creek is, which is a tributary of the Grand River. The rest of this, what you see here, is the University of Waterloo under construction. So the next two circles that pop up show the Modern Languages Building and the Dana Porter Library in 1968 as well. And then you'll actually see, which is kind of cool, looking at this photo, there's a parking lot where Needles Hall is, which is, you know, one of the most important buildings that you folks will engage with in your studies here. But also the Physical Activities Complex and the Student Life Center are not quite constructed yet either. So as we go through the presentation today, I want us to keep in mind this land and the centuries and more than centuries of folks who have been on it and all the different histories that are there, keeping in mind that this land was supposed to belong to the Indigenous nations from well before Canada was confederated as a country. So I like sharing this photo and sharing that little bit of the history as well as we continue learning and moving toward truth and reconciliation with our past. I'd like to introduce the team, since I realized awkwardly I'm here talking to you and you don't even necessarily know who I am. So I'm the middle photograph there. I'm Tommy Mayberry. My pronouns are he, she, and they. So you can use any of those three series to refer to me. And I am your manager of outreach and recruitment here at St. Jerome's University. The photo on the left is Olivia Carvalho, who uses she, her, and hers pronouns. And Olivia is your admissions and recruitment coordinator. And you'll be hearing from Olivia tonight as well. And then tonight we have with us Melissa Carvalhal, who uses she, her, and hers pronouns as well. And she is our interim manager of the residence as well as business operations at St. Jerome's. So we're going to be hearing from Melissa about all of the things in the residence tonight as well. And I believe now I'm passing it over to Olivia to get us started with a bit of a poll for you folks.
Awesome, thanks, Tommy. Yeah, I'm just going to encourage everyone that's joining us tonight to look at the right side of their screen, and there should be a poll that has just launched now. If you want to take a minute and answer it about what has brought you to this talk tonight, just to give a little bit of engagement and see why folks are joining us this evening. Oh, and it looks like there's quite a few people in already. I'll just give 30 more seconds and then I'll launch those results. Still a few more coming in. That's great. Okay, just 10 more seconds. And okay, I will launch the poll now. And you should be seeing the results on your screen. So it looks like quite a few people joining us tonight have applied or been admitted. Congratulations to St. Jerome's. And about the same amount of people have also applied or been admitted to Waterloo. So congratulations. And other folks that are here with us tonight looks like there's some parents or guardians joining us. And then a few people didn't answer. So maybe I didn't have a choice that really resonated with you, and I apologize for that. But maybe there'll be one in the second poll, so let's try that one. And we'll change the slide too, that would help. Okay, second question is, I'm most interested to learn about, not really a question, we're just trying to gauge, again, what you're hoping to get from this presentation and hopefully have some relevant info for you tonight. Oh, coming fast again. Thank you so much, folks. Just give it about 30 more seconds. Looks like there's still some action going on, some numbers are climbing. Just a few more seconds, and I think we'll close it. Okay, let's see what we got. Only a few of you are interested in what's in the room. That is surprising to me. Quite a few of you are interested in amenities and what actually is in the St. Jerome's University Residence Building. Of course, there's some interest about the food, and you are coming to the right place for sure. And quite a few interested in fees and applications. So that's great. We are going to cover everything that was an option here tonight. And with that, I think we'll get rolling. All right. Oh, I better close that poll. Okay, perfect. So St. Jerome's University, a place to study, a place to, well, my slide's changing with me. Place to study, there we go. A place to live, and of course, a place to have amazing experiences. But what the heck is St. Jerome's University for those of you joining us tonight who maybe don't know how we are connected to the University of Waterloo? St. Jerome's University is a small university. We're our very own university, federated with the University of Waterloo. And we have a pretty unique history in that we actually were the reason Waterloo exists today. We were one of the founders that came together and made University of Waterloo possible. Where are we located, though? We always get this question. Okay, is St. Jerome's down the road? Is St. Jerome somewhere else? No, we're right at the heart of campus. And this is the University of Waterloo campus that you're seeing there on the screen. Ring Road is what encompasses many of the academic buildings. And then on the side, the left side is where all of the residence buildings are kind of grouped together. And St. Jerome's is right at the heart of campus, right in the middle there. Very close walk to the Student Life Center, to all of the academic buildings that you'll need. We're actually the closest residence to health services. We share a parking lot, and that puts us in really good proximity for you to be anywhere on campus with just about a 10-minute walk, which is great. Our campus itself is made up of a number of buildings, all clustered together on the University of Waterloo campus as well. So St. Jerome's, of course, we have our academic center, which you're seeing in the middle of the screen, that beautiful photo, big glass building where you'll hopefully have the opportunity to take some lectures. And we also have our community center in behind there. That's our dining hall where our students come for all of their meals. Lots of community events take place in there as well. In behind the community center is our new state-of-the-art library that just opened last year and was only open for a month before everything closed down. So it is absolutely brand new, and it was actually designed with current student input. So all of the study spaces and all of the features designed not only with students in mind, but by students, which is very cool. Our Spirituality Center and Notre Dame Chapel are back there near the library. And of course, you're seeing our residence building in behind there on the far right side of the screen. So everything, again, really close together. I would say a 1-minute walk across St. Jerome's campus. That's how tiny we are, but also full of exciting things. And with this, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa to dive into the residence portion of this presentation.
Thank you, Olivia. So our residence is home to about 360 students. Half of our beds are in single rooms and about half of our beds are in double rooms. In the residence building, we have 7 floors, each of which has 2 room clusters, or pods, as we like to call them, on either sides of the building. Each pod kind of forms their own little community. They have their own residence dawn. And a residence dawn is an upper year student who's there to create community amongst their floor, as well as to support new students through their transition to university. We have students from all 6 faculties living with us at St. Jerome's. You don't have to be an art student or enrolled at St. Jerome's to live in residence. And there are multiple ways to be an SJU student and to be part of our community, and living on campus is just one of those ways. Olivia, we can go to the next slide. Oh, just some fun photos of our students and residents. So what makes SJU's residents different? Well, we have an all-inclusive, all-you-can-eat style meal plan featuring fresh, local, made-from-scratch food and unlimited chocolate milk on tap. Access to residents-only spaces like our private study rooms, our creative space. We have a games room and lounge, movie and TV room. We have a music room, and we also have a secured indoor bike storage space. We have an elementary school-sized gymnasium on our campus, as well as studio-style fitness room. We have a residents-only laundry facility on the main floor, and recently we made this cost included in your residence fees, so you don't have to worry about finding those loonies and quarters for laundry anymore. We also have the Buttery, which is an after-hours meal space where students can come to grab and make their own late-night food. All of these amenities are included in your residence fees. We also have parking, so if you have a car that you are bringing with you to campus, we have a parking lot nearby, and you can make arrangements with our residence office to purchase a pass as we get closer to September. So in the rooms, our rooms are fresh and bright, well lit, and they come fully furnished with furniture. Each person living in residence has a desk and a chair, a bed, a dresser, and space to hang their clothes, and each room comes with a mini fridge. There's a sink and a vanity in each room, which is great because you don't have to worry about flossing your teeth in public. Bathrooms are shared facilities located in the middle of each pod, and there are sinks, toilets, and showers. Again, shared space, so don't forget to bring your shower caddy, to bring your shampoo and conditioner, your body wash, as well as some shower shoes. That just gives you a little bit of separation. Okay. Our cafeteria, we've talked a little bit about our all-you-can-eat meal plan, which is provided to us by Dana Hospitality. They're our campus food service partner. We work really closely with them to make sure that our students have the type of food that they need when they're on campus. Dana Hospitality specializes in locally sourced, made from scratch, fresh and healthy meals to fuel our students while you live and study with us on campus. Dana Hospitality is famously known for their funky cream cheese flavors. My favorite is the urban garlic, a little bit of a traditionalist. Their in-house made spreads like their strawberry jam and their sunflower seed butter, made from scratch by Chef James, and their Super Stack salad bar, fair trade coffee and teas, and their program where resident students submit and vote on upcoming meals that you'd like to see on the menu, which is the My Menu program that you see noted on the slide there. And I will pass it back over to Tommy.
Melissa. In addition to all those pieces about the residence building itself, the residence building, for those of you who are going to be residents living there as well, there also is an incredible team of our student affairs folks who are there for you as part of the outstanding support that comes along with being a St. Jerome student and or resident for it. So we have our Director of Student Affairs, Jessica. We have our Director of Campus Ministry, Sean. Jamie is our residence life coordinator, so you'd be working closely with Jamie. We also have a wellness coordinator who is Lindsay, our spiritual and student development advisor, Erica. We have John, who works across student services as the student affairs associate to make sure that fingerprints and everything are there in all of the different portfolios. Joe is our advising specialist. Emily is the student affairs administrative assistant, and Michelle is our service learning program coordinator. So in addition to the folks on the call with you tonight, there is this great team of people there as well to make sure that everything you need to be successful, safe, happy, and healthy is a part of your residence experience as well. And not on this slide, but we're going to put up another slide in a second, is Brielle, who is a current student and current resident. So when I joked at the beginning that we are coming to you live from St. Jerome's, Brielle actually is. So Brielle is in her room in the St. Jerome's residence right now. Brielle, I'm going to pass it over to you to chat with us a little bit about yourself. Brielle is an honor science student who's also one of our experienced guides in a student leadership position, and as I said, is a current resident at St. Jerome's. So Brielle, over to you.
Thanks, Tommy. So, as they said there, my name is Brielle Shaw. I am in my first year of honors science, and I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about why I chose St. Jerome's and also what St. Jerome's and residence looks like this year. So, I chose St. Jerome's for its community. It has such a tight-knit and inclusive community. Everyone feels welcome at St. Jerome's. Immediately walking into the building, you just feel like you're home. And that was really important for me when coming to residence because I'm from a very small town and a very tight family. So I wanted to continue that in my university career, and St. Jerome's has really allowed me to do that. As well, St. Jerome's is just filled with the most wonderful people, and it's super easy to make friends. I've made some of my best friends here. A little bit about what residence is like this year. I was quite nervous when applying to residence last year because I wasn't sure what it would look like with the pandemic, but the staff and leadership at St. Jerome's have really made this an amazing year. There's just nothing to complain about at all. There's such great people everywhere, and it's really amazing. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them during the question and answer period. And I think I'll pass it over to Melissa.
Thanks, Brielle. Thank you. Thanks for sharing a bit of your experience from this year. So how to apply to residence? Well, St. Jerome's is part of University of Waterloo's first-year housing guarantee, which means we hold a number of our beds in residence specifically for incoming first-year students. The best way to get all of the information about the first-year housing guarantee is to access it through that link there. So I won't go through all of the information, but I will tell you the important bits. So the first step is to accept your offer of admission to UW or to St. Jerome's. And when you're ready to complete your residence application, you can log into the Residence Community Ranking Form portal with your UW student number and your birthday. You'll rank the residence communities, and you'll submit the $500 housing deposit by the June 1st deadline. So four very important steps that at talking and counting. But first step, accept your offer of admission. Second step, complete the ranking form of your residence community. Submit your housing deposit and meet the deadline of June 1st. All very important to be guaranteed a residence space on campus for September. And be sure to rank St. Jerome's as your top choice because that will make sure that we see your name. It will be front and center when we're doing our admissions, and it'll help secure you your space at St. Jerome's. And a little bit about residence fees. So there are still so many questions about what the fall term will look like. Please rest assured that we're creating plans for residents that are flexible enough to accommodate public health recommendations while supporting students' needs and their desire to be on campus in the fall. We're working really closely with our campus partners and with public health to help guide what this looks like, and we expect our plans to continue to evolve over the summer months as our COVID environment changes and we learn more. So students, when they complete their lifestyle and preference form for St. Jerome, so after they've received an offer, a residence contract with St. Jerome specifically, students will have an opportunity to indicate if they'd like to be placed in a single room, which will help us do our room allocations come September. So our typical fee structure is such that we have a basic double room fee, and then we have a single room fee, which includes a $400 single supplement. And for reference, you can see what our 2020, 2021 residence fees look like, and we will be able to communicate what our 2021, 2022 residence fees will be before students are offered a contract in June. And I will pass it back to Tommy.
Thank you, Melissa. And that is our short presentation. As we said, folks, we wanted to get through the content piece so that we can have as much time as possible for you and all of your questions to make sure we can get them answered. So thank you so much for sitting through that presentation with us. We now want to turn it over to you and ask you what questions we can answer for you about St. Jerome's residence specifically, and or any other questions you have about St. Jerome's University on its own or at the University of Waterloo as well. So we are going to leave the chat and the Q&A boxes open for you folks so that you can type in whichever one is making sense or hearing from that as well. And we will read the questions aloud as well as type answers to them so you can see them going there. So the first question that came in, and Olivia's already answered, but I will read it aloud. The first question was, when do transfer students need to submit the $500 housing deposit? And the answer is 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on June 1st, 2021. So it is the same deadline for that housing deposit for all of our incoming students. I'm going to pass off, I think, to Melissa. There's a question that asks, when do students usually hear back about getting admitted to residence?
Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit about that process. So I mentioned before the June 1st deadline for students getting their residence community ranking form in. So after all of the residence communities receive that information, we need to do some administrative behind the scenes work to figure out exactly who is going where. And we typically send out our residence offers by the 2nd to 3rd week of June, depending on any extensions that may have been offered to the ranking form. So I can say fairly confidently by the 3rd week of June, students who have submitted their application should receive a contract from their placement. I see another question wondering if the residence has air conditioning. Yes, indeed it does. We're very lucky. Very lucky to have air conditioning in our residence building. And I'll just keep going with the questions if that's okay.
You're on a roll.
Lots of really fantastic ones coming in. There's a question here, does the bike storage room have a fee? It does. There is a small fee associated with that. Off the top of my head, if I'm remembering correctly, it's about $50 a term, and we just collect that from students after they move in. Another question here about what is the refund policy in the event the student is learning remotely in September? I think the official refund policy right now is that as it relates to the residence community ranking form, students will be able to withdraw from that by the June 1st deadline and get their money back. I would need to look specifically at the details, but I think the important part to share here is that the university is approaching this as compassionately as possible given the circumstances. There was a lot of flexibility built into our process last summer, and I would be very surprised if we don't see that same flexibility and compassion as we go through the next couple of months. I see another question here. Will you be having 2 students in double rooms next year? When will you decide if there's only one person in a room because of COVID? Great question. I mentioned during our presentation that we're working really closely with public health guidelines with the University of Waterloo campus housing partners to determine exactly what the fall will look like. Given that we're still about 6 months out, that the COVID situation is rapidly evolving with immunization rollout. There's lots of news happening. There's lots of really great things happening that are keeping us really hopeful for what the fall term will look like. Also being cautious and doing things because they're safe and because they're the right thing to do. So I don't have a definite answer for that right now, but something that we will be, it will continue to be top of mind as we do our admissions and our allocations. Okay, so I see another question. Will the double rooms be converted to single rooms because of COVID? That scenario is included in one of our scenario plans. Tommy, did you want to jump in? Sorry, Tommy, did you have something to say? It looks like you unmuted your mic for a minute. You're okay. Okay, I see a question. Whoops, sorry, my chat just jumped. So sorry, I'm having trouble scrolling through my chat Q&A right now. I can't get back up to where I left off.
Melissa, I can read them out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So we just chatted about, will double rooms be converted to singles because of COVID? Said we are in a big TBD. And the next question was, do you know anything about what the room assignment and or price changes might look like during COVID?
Yes, we're intending that students who indicate to us that their preference is to live in a single room will have that space secured with the single room fee structure that you saw on that slide. If we get to a space where we feel like students might be able to live in a double room based on what we're hearing from public health, then we'll be using that double room, single room cost structure.
That's great. The next question was, do upper year applicants pay the deposit before or after they are given a contract?
So for upper year applications, we do that a little bit in tandem. So our upper year applications happen on a rolling basis based on the number of spaces we have available. So we always encourage upper year students to submit their deposit as soon as they can to secure their spot for that term.
That's great. And the next question was, do the rooms have individual temperature control?
Short answer is not really, if that's fair. Yeah, I don't know how many details you care to have, but essentially there's a central heating cooling system in the building. There's a little bit of flexibility room to room to adjust within a couple degrees, but mostly the heating and cooling is done by the building-wide system.
There's also doors and a window that cracks open, so that's a little bit of control. The next question was, if I am deferring this year, planning to come to school in 2022, do I apply for residence this year or do I wait until next year? And that's a great question. You're going to wait until the year that you're actually going to begin your studies. And then again, the application process will look a little bit differently. So you'll want to connect with Melissa around this time next year to get that process started. Okay, next question was, did you say the withdrawal date is June 1st, which is also the application date? Can you please clarify? Yes, June 1st is a big day in the world of post-secondary in Ontario. That is the confirmation deadline, and it also is the residence deadline. So 11:59 p.m. on June 1st, please have your deposit in for residence and your residence community ranking form completely filled out, submitted, done, all in. And also let us know that you're planning to come and study with us in September, because that is also the deadline. So yes, thank you for bringing that up. There's no confusion there. It is all one day, one big day, June 1st. Next question we have, is the university planning for virtual or in-person classes this year? Example, any guidelines about what class size oh my gosh, I'm going to start again. Any guidelines about class sizes that will meet in person versus others more likely online? Another great question. I'm going to turn it over to Tommy for this one. Oh, Tommy, are you with us? Okay, Tommy is experiencing technical difficulties. No problem. Yeah, so the University of Waterloo announced last week that they are taking a hybrid approach for the fall, and St. Jerome's is following suit with the University of Waterloo. At this time, we don't have details on what class offerings will be for the ones that are intending to be in person, how many people will be allowed in a classroom, how many classes will happen per day. So that, again, is something that we're just working with the University of Waterloo and with public health as things unfold in the coming months. We won't have more details about that until a later date right now. We have a question here about fees. So after the $500 deposit is paid, when is the balance due? I'll turn that over to Melissa.
Great question. The balance is due at the same time that your tuition is due, which is I do not have those dates off the top of my head, but I'm going to say mid to late August. And I'm happy to follow up specifically with what those dates are. So you can maybe send me an email, or we can connect after the presentation, and I can send you those specific dates. I see another question here. How do you assign roommates if the plan is to proceed with 2 people per room? Yeah, really good question. So at St. Jerome's, we have a bit of a unique roommate assignment process. So we ask students a bunch of questions, which I mean is typical of most residences, and then we share the answers to those questions with our residence dons and our residence office staff, who assign and match roommates by hand. So it allows a really unique opportunity for the dons to create a community of people that really resonate with them, people who they think will live really well together. And it's always so interesting for me to see how the floor communities come together based on how the dons have chosen their floor.
I see a question here about living at St. Jerome's for non-art students. The question is, do you have any tips for getting placed at St. Jerome's as a student not in the Faculty of Arts? That's a great question. So as we mentioned, there are students from all programs and all 6 faculties that come and live at St. Jerome's every year. So we're not an arts-only residence. And the best thing to do is fill out your residence community ranking form, rank us #1, and make sure you get that deposit in before the June 1st deadline. And the second best thing to do is connect with me. I'd love to chat with you about what St. Jerome's could look like for you, and make sure that you aren't missing any steps as you go through the application process. So yeah, keep me in the loop, because that's always helpful too.
I see another question. If students have to live in double rooms alone, will it be priced as a single or a double room? So this is again speaking hypothetically, because I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know exactly what September is going to look like. But if we reach the scenario where we have demand for single rooms and we need to transition and use double rooms as single rooms, I expect that there will be a single supplement allocated to those spaces. And I see another question. What kind of in-person community events could be planned for next year, regardless of COVID? So I wonder, Brielle, if you're still there, would you like to answer this question and tell us a little bit about your experience as a resident student and what you've been able to engage in this year?
Absolutely. So if COVID is still a problem next year, I'm sure that the events will run similar to the way they were this year. Right now, we do have a lot of online events. So they do lots of game nights, trivia nights, things like that, where you can meet in an online setting. But we also do have a few in-person events. So one we're doing this year is a spring formal. It's planned for the beginning of April. And that's just, we're all gonna dress up and we'll go down. We have a fancy dinner. Our dinner is served to us at our tables. And it's really just what you make it. So there are student leadership makes and plans all of the events. So it's, you can make recommendations and they can try to fulfill those. Yeah, so it's really just what you make it. My floor has done events just ourselves. There's 10 of us on my side of the floor right now. And we did a painting night. We've done all sorts of things just as a small group. Yeah, so it's really what you make it.
Thanks, Brielle.
We have another question here about what is the average class size at Waterloo versus SJU? And I can't speak to the University of Waterloo because each faculty, again, is varied in course offerings and the number of students that study with them. So I'll speak to St. Jerome specifically, and that's an average class size of 35 students. And I say average because our biggest lecture hall holds almost 300, but it's pretty rare that you'll find a course at St. Jerome's with that many folks in it. The most likely situation would be like your Psych 100 first year course, and that's only so many students across a number of different disciplines have that as a required course for the program that they're in. So you might find yourself in a 200 to 300 person lecture in your first year, but as you move through and as you get a little bit more specified in the disciplines that you're interested in, 35 is definitely more of the realistic number you'll find yourself in on a day-to-day basis at St. Jerome's. I had a class with 12 people at St. Jerome's, and then most of the time it was between 20 and 40 for me for the classes that I had. But again, that changes depending on what you're studying. There was a question also, and I don't know where it went to, but I'll just address a little bit more about students that are co-registered with St. Jerome's are given priority for St. Jerome's classes when they're offered, but you're under no obligation to take all of your courses at St. Jerome's. So you can really pick and choose what makes sense for you. And if you do prefer a larger lecture style and that's being offered at Waterloo for a course that you need to take, then by all means take that course. But if you really are vibing with that smaller class size, intimate experience, getting to know your professors on a first name basis and chatting with them in the hallways, and you like that more tight-knit community experience, then absolutely take your courses at St. Jerome's. And if you need a combination of both, then you're very likely going to get a combination of both. It's pretty rare that students take all of their courses at St. Jerome's throughout their whole undergrad, so you'll get the both big Waterloo experience and then also the smaller St. Jerome's experience while you're with us. Someone asked, will we be able to rewatch this webinar later? And the answer is yes, it is being recorded and it will be up on our at SJU Belong YouTube channel on Monday. And I will be sending out an email to all of you folks to let you know that it has been posted at that time. So great question. A question about, or did I just see that? Are there opportunities to get involved at SJU leadership teams or clubs in my first year? Yes, and I'm going to turn it over to Brielle to speak a little bit about her involvement experience this year, and then I can expand on that.
Yes, so there are definitely opportunities to get involved as a first year and as an upper year student. St. Jerome's has hundreds of leadership positions. I myself am on residence council, which is there's one representative from each pod on each floor, and we all meet once every other week and just kind of give updates on the pods, and we plan events, things like that. I'm also an experience guide, and that is open to any year student. So is Res Council, but it's meeting with prospective students and kind of giving them a little insight on St. Jerome's and things like that. There's also all sorts of clubs on the Waterloo campus, and they're specific to faculty or not to faculty. There's hundreds and hundreds, and that's something you can look into and see what you're interested in. Sports, there are intramurals. This year there was soccer and volleyball run, but and then there's always varsity sports as well.
Thank you, Brielle. Yes, just to expand on that a little bit more, there are over 100 different leadership positions that students at SJU can apply for, and those start as early as your first year. And there was a few that Brielle mentioned, like becoming an experience guide and getting to welcome prospective students and their support systems to St. Jerome's, both virtually and hopefully on campus again very soon. Other opportunities could be Relay for Life, which is a 24-hour event that raises money for the Canadian Cancer Society. A great team event where you come together and do some pretty wacky activities throughout the course of an overnight event. There's also representing your residence floor on the residence council. There is the opportunity to get involved with different student-run clubs. The Green Team is a pretty popular one. There is Students' Union if you're interested in student government, being a representative at the University of Waterloo in their student government as well. Yeah, lots of opportunities to get involved. And I always tell students, if there isn't a club that you're interested in, please start your own, because there is funding available for that. And you might not be the only one who's really passionate about a club that hasn't existed yet. So lots to do and join and start and be a part of. It looks like we're getting close to the end of our questions here. I think this was a question about upper year residents, Melissa. How and where do I send the deposit?
So if you've completed an upper year residence application with us, we would love to connect with you to just finish up that application. And the best way to do that is to reach out via email or to respond to any emails that have been sent to you. And to submit that deposit, we can accept a credit card payment or a e-transfer. But love to connect offline with more of those specific details for your specific situation.
A question about the Buttery. Will the Buttery late night kitchen be open if COVID is still a large concern in the fall?
Yeah, great question. We've had to make a few adjustments to some of our food service offerings this year, and the Buttery was one of them just because of the nature of that program. It's pretty self-serve, it's pretty open and pretty flexible with how we use it. And unfortunately, in our COVID world, we just weren't able to do things the way that we normally like to do them in that space. So instead of having our self-serve Buttery option, we have snacks that are delivered every night to each pod. So they're individually wrapped, brought upstairs by the residents' dawn, and the students can do a bit of a self-serve and just grab their portion. So we will have snacks. We will still be doing a snack program, and we have all of our fingers crossed that we will be able to open the Buttery in the way that we would like to in the fall.
Alyssa, one more question for you here. If you live at SJU in first year, are you likely to be accepted back in your upper years?
We do have upper year opportunities for students to live in residence with us again. We love it when upper year students come back because they're just so important to our residence community and to, they're great mentors to our incoming first year students, valuable contributors to our community. So yes, we have upper year spaces. Yes, you will have an opportunity to apply to be back in residence in your second year.
Good stuff. I have a question here about, do you know if we will be able to do an in-person tour this summer or in the fall? The answer right now is not at the current time. And again, we'll just have to monitor how the COVID situation unfolds both on campus and in the Waterloo region, what the recommendations are from public health and what are the appropriate safety measures that we'll be able to take before we can welcome visitors to campus. Though my fingers are crossed, very hopeful that we'll be able to get you to campus sooner rather than later. So again, we just have to watch things as they unfold, but I would love to welcome you to campus this summer. I have another question here about, will there be other SJU webinars this spring? Thank you so much for asking. The answer is yes. We will be having a larger in content, so not residence focused, but SJU as a whole, and that includes academics and student experience and campus life. At our next webinar, which is in April, and I have the date here in front of me, but I believe it is April 24th. It is again a Thursday evening at the same time. It is, April 22nd, my apologies. April 22nd from 7 to 8 p.m. And the webinar is called When You Get Here. So hopefully we'll have some more information for you at that time. And again, be able to share more about what St. Jerome's is like when we're all able to be together on campus. I'm just going to put up the contact information for us as the questions have started to slow down. So, but yeah, we will stay on for a little while longer. As there's more questions coming through, we're happy to answer them. Tommy is experiencing technical difficulties still, but can be reached at tommy.mayberry@uwaterloo.ca at absolutely any time. As Kim, Melissa, and I, please, our virtual doors are always open, and we are more than willing to chat with you. In fact, we really look forward to chatting with you. So please take us up on that and come knocking on our inboxes. Just going to give a quick scan here of the Q&A and see if there's anything that we missed. Answered verbally.
I see a question here about, is there a way to be notified when the new prices are posted? I'm assuming that's referring to our new residence prices. We will update that on our website as soon as we have those confirmed for next year, and students will have that information before they accept their contract with us.
since there's no new questions coming in, I just want to thank you all for joining us this evening and for your amazing questions. This is great. I'm so glad that you could join us on this lovely and warm Thursday evening. Well, at least warm in the Waterloo region. Thank you if you're joining us from outside the Waterloo region as well. I apologize that Tommy isn't here to say goodbye and thank you, but on behalf of our whole team, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us and for sharing your expertise and giving us a little bit more of an inside scoop about residents and what's happening this year. And as well, thank you, Brielle, for coming to us live from St. Jerome's University tonight to share your first year experience. Again, students that are looking to connect with the current students, to hear more about their experiences, please get in touch with me and I'd be happy to connect you with Brielle or any of the experience guides or chief experience officers on our ambassador team this year. I want to thank you all again for joining us. And again, please get in touch because we are more than happy to chat with you at any time. And we look forward to welcoming you home to St. Jerome's University this fall. We will stay on for just a few more minutes if there are last minute questions, but I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off now. But if there are any more, please pop them in the chat. But if not, thank you so much and we'll see you soon.